this is Dr. Ace, the Global Mentor Coach, and if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my friend, Scott Ferguson.
Hey, time to shine today, Varsity Squad. It's Scott Ferguson, and I am going to bring to you a fantastic interview with my good friend and kind of a homegirl here in South Florida, Dr. Latanya Hughes from the Global Mentor Coach. She goes in and helps companies find their leadership voice, she lets them know that leadership is a lifestyle and not just a function. And she's going to drop on you a solid knowledge nugget. Remember this acronym PLUS, P-L-U-S. I'm not going to spoil it, but she brings it out probably 2 to 3 minutes into the interview. Make sure you're taking notes. Make sure you're paying attention. And you're going to have your world rocked with my friend here, Dr. Latanya. So without further ado, let's bring her on. Hey, time to shine today, squad. It's Scott Ferguson, and I am super stoked because right now, as we're recording this, we're kind of in the middle of the COVID pandemic, and somebody that helps people level up their life, especially in times of turmoil, I'm bringing on for a fantastic conversation. And her name is, and she's my friend, Dr. Latanya Hughes. She's kind of like a homegirl too, because she's down here in South Florida, which is kind of nice. So even if we are, if we're going to be isolated, it's nice to have an area like this, even though we can't go to the beach, but still it's nice. But a little bit about Dr. Latanya. She is the authority in global business dynamics with proven results. Disproves the words, I can't do it, and it can't be done. She's a polished leadership specialist with formal education in leadership and global consulting and extensive experience in strategic problem solving, working across all levels of an organization, providing extraordinary results to uncover ways to cut company costs and produce new sources of revenue, particularly in distressed organizations, while promoting synergistic teams. And wow, those are some solid credentials. And Dr. Latanya, if you could please come on and introduce yourself to the squad. But first, please tell us your favorite color and why.
Oh, wow. I guess I would have to say right now it's pink. It changes from year to year. Right now it's pink.
Okay. Pink is soft. Pink is caring.
Yeah.
But it also has energy to it. I wear pink because I'm dark complected, so I can pull it off.
Yeah, you can. I know. No, it's very feminine. It's very, I feel very empowered when I wear it. And I just like how it just pops. It's just, it's like, oh, okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it. So give us some origins, on where you kind of started, and then how you became a doctor, and then, kind of going into the Global Mentor Coach, if you could take us through that.
So I've always been a troubleshooter in my career when I was in management. And so I really just parlayed that experience of helping organizations that I work for or people on my team to go to that next level, to always be innovative, figuring out ways to maximize returns. I'm just really good at that. And so it's just a matter of just taking that and going to the next level. I was in a transition of my life, transitioning out of, I have a hotel background, so transitioning out of that and figuring out what the next phase of my life was going to be. So I decided to go to grad school, and pursue a degree in leadership. So I actually have a doctorate. My doctorate is in strategic leadership. So I have an actual doctorate in leadership.
Excellent.
And my concentration was global consulting because I really wanted to be able to help people on a global scale. So that's where the global piece comes in. And I've always been into mentoring or coaching in some way. Again, I did it with employees. I did it, here, there, everywhere. And so it's just really taking that and expanding it and helping as many people as I can. And of course, now we're definitely in a global economy. We're seeing it even now more amid COVID-19, but with the surgence of the internet, the information superhighway, I like to call it, whether good, bad, or in between,
sure.
You can really reach so many people without even actually having to physically touch them. And so it's now my role. I find my role is helping people adjust in a time like this where you've got to figure out how to to adjust, how to shift, how to transition in a situation like this when you're probably going stir crazy because you're not used to working from home or being so isolated. I say that we're so connected that we're disconnected as people.
Sure.
And now we're learning how to connect with one another in a totally different way. And so yeah, people are getting a whole lot of perspective now.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. I mean, it's right in your bio. I mean, distressed organizations doesn't mean that, you've lost money or going through a lull. I mean, this is just stress time. So I'm sure people are going to be reaching out to you to be like, okay, we got to revamp and like restructure organization. So what was because you said you worked in some corporate world and stuff, what was the aha moment that said you're going to take it from being in the corporate world? Sure, you helped and you said you coached and whatnot, but what was the aha moment that made you push through and say, okay, I'm going to do this as my full-time job?
It's probably the same answer as everybody else's. You kind of get tired of the corporate bureaucracy, and seeing that understanding that when you're in an executive position, you have to make decisions for all stakeholders involved. But when you're on the ground, understanding that you've got to take that information and apply it. And so you kind of get sick of the in-between a little bit. And I felt like I could be a stronger resource or even a better help to organizations as a consultant rather than on the inside, because I also found that people tend to listen more to people outside the organization, unfortunately, than those on the inside. And so I kind of felt that I could also help more organizations rather than just the one that I was working for. I can help more organizations. And so I've done some stuff. I did, a cultural analysis for, a city government organization because they wanted to see how things are working. It was just like, wow, we don't have any culture. We really don't have our culture. So being able to provide organizations with those aha moments that can take them to another level or achieve their goals, or even again in a situation where you're transitioning and you don't know where to begin. And that's the struggle. And I don't know why, but I like passion projects. I look for things that, distressed people or distressed situations, I look for brokenness, and I like to take and fix broken things. So
gotcha. So with you, saying that every company has a different personality to it. Every company has, like I like to say, a different thumbprint or a snowflake. Absolutely. Not in a political way. A snowflake, every snowflake's different, right? So what makes a great coach to be able to handle, or a great leader, we'll say coach for your example, what makes a great coach to be able to handle different organizations?
You have to have a level of diplomacy, but you also have to be flexible. You have to be willing to throw away any preconceived ideas that you have. So,
no one cookie cutter.
No,
right?
Cookie cutter. No, I think that one of the worst things you can do is bring a cookie cutter approach, because no two things are like using the snowflake. There's no two alike.
Right.
I worked for an organization that bought an off-the-shelf system, for instance, and it was a complete disaster.
Failure.
And when I say disaster, because it didn't take into consideration all of the security protocols required. So we were literally checking two people into the same room.
Wow.
And it was crazy because I was staying at the property, and I was in the shower, and I guess if I didn't have that security latch on, a man would have come into my room and checked him into my room. So that's the danger of cookie cutter approaches, because what applies here doesn't apply there. You've got to be able to go in and really do a solid evaluation. And if you have a preconceived idea of how that's going to work, you're going to miss all of the factors necessary to address their needs. So a cookie cutter approach doesn't work, because sometimes you one size fits all is not one size fits all.
No, never is.
That's like probably one of the biggest lies out there that people want to try to use, and that just doesn't work.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this: give me one of your secret sauce techniques to help these corporations, or even individuals that you might work with, to find their blind spots, find what's kind of bringing them down. What give us, I asked this of my coaches and leaders and whatnot, what do you give me a technique that you might use to help a corporation find their blind spot?
I use my program. And
Hey.
it starts with P is the purposeful pause, L is listen, U is understand, and then serve. So first you got to take a purposeful pause. Take a moment to stop and think and answer some key questions. And you've got to be willing to ask the hard questions. Don't tiptoe around it. What's your pain point? What's the most common complaint that you're getting, whether it's internal or external? Like, be willing to answer and face those hard questions and the hard reality, the stuff that you don't want to do. Look yourself in the mirror, look your business in the mirror, look yourself in the mirror and ask those hard questions. And one question goes, to another. Listen to those answers. Listen to your inner voice. Listen and really understand what's being said. What are you not just hearing, but ask more questions to get full understanding of what's going on. Once you have those answers, then you can figure out how to serve. What do I mean? What's the action steps that go along with that? That's my P.L.U.S system. That's what I do.
Did you hear that, squad? That is a fantastic acronym. Everybody that's listening, if you're not driving, write that down with the P.L.U.S system, with a purposeful pause, listen, understand. And during that understanding, I would always recommend as well, and I'm sure that you're ready to do it, Doc, is you kind of paraphrase back to them what they told me, what they
absolutely
repeat back to them, and make sure you understand. And people love to be understood.
Yes.
And the last part is what we're always talking about here, is serving. And Dr. Latanya is a fantastic go-giver. So, Doc, if I'm out at a networking event or I'm just anywhere, well, I'm not going to be out anywhere right now, but if I'm out anywhere and I'm pressing some flesh or bumping elbows or whatnot while you're talking to people, and what kind of keywords am I looking for to know that if I'm talking to a possible prospect, contact, connection, or someone you would like to meet? What are they saying to me?
You're looking for brokenness. You're looking for distress. You're looking for somebody in transition. Again, distress doesn't necessarily mean you're out of money. It means like right now we're dealing with COVID-19. So you're looking for opportunities to transition. Maybe you're looking for a change of venue. This is the perfect time for people who may want to change careers or transition their business into something else. You're looking for a way to expand. You're looking for expansion opportunities. That's me. That's the stuff that I like. I really like helping people transition out of wherever they are. And maybe where you are isn't in a bad situation. You just want more. You just want more. So I'm looking for brokenness, distress, and transition.
So a lot of this, and if I get too personal, just, give me a virtual slap here. But is something happened in your life that you went through to make you want to step out and help companies like this?
I had horrible leadership experiences, horrible mentoring, coaching experiences. And so my passion is to help other people not ever experience those experiences.
I love that. Thank you for being honest about that.
And so that's what drives
around
me.
that.
Oh no, I don't have no problem with that. I've actually written that in some of the books that I've written. My passion in life is to ensure that, or to at least try. I know that people are going to experience hardship. That's just, nice. That's life. But if I can do my part to help people avoid some of the pitfalls and the challenges that I experiences with bad leadership, with people who, were supposed to be mentoring me, but their interests were more important. That's what I want to do, because that's the other side of me as the global mentor coach, is teaching people how to be a mentor. Because everybody wants to be a coach, everybody wants to be a mentor, but everybody doesn't have what it takes to fill that role.
Absolutely. And if you were to go back and meet back in time, or back in your Back to the Future DeLorean, and meet the 22-year-old Latanya Hughes, not doctor yet. Meet that Latanya Hughes. What kind of wisdom or knowledge nuggets are you going to impart on Latanya, a nice young Latanya? What are you going to tell her?
Know the difference between passion and pain.
Wow.
And know how to communicate that. Know how to turn your pain into passion without offending people, without shooting yourself in the foot, burning bridges, which I never believed in burning bridges because that was something I was taught, but knowing how to communicate your pain and turn that into passion so that people understand the passion and want to help you.
That's
and
fantastic.
Understand that it's okay to say no. It's okay to transition and change, and that loyalty sometimes is overrated.
Love it. And let me ask you something, with companies that come to you, or you're starting to possibly form a relationship with them, which I know that you just don't take on anybody. You qualify them first for previous conversation we had.
Yep.
But is there any good questions that you wish these companies would ask you from the get that never do?
Have I ever failed
Really?
a client?
Okay.
Because
that is no ego, Doc. I mean, you are like no ego right there. A lot of people will say, well, how can I make more money? Or, like, have you ever failed? That's like coming to you and be like,
right.
That's awesome.
I mean, but to be honest, if you would ask that question, sometimes the answer that you're looking for is in what the person is not saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, my answer would be, I don't see it as failure. I see it as opportunity to grow.
Yeah. And
I would turn the question around, because failure implies that there's something that I didn't bring to the table. When one of the things that I say, so my website, I tell people, even clients, potential clients, is this works if you do the work. So it's not just on me.
Right.
So failure implies that it's just this is a relationship.
Right.
This is symbiotic. We both have a shared responsibility, response-ability, because you have to respond with ability to what I'm offering.
That's funny you say that.
Yeah. And so if you don't respond with ability, then did I really fail?
Right.
Or was this a learning opportunity where maybe the communication was off, or, the effort wasn't, the level of effort required to get the results that the client is looking for.
Sure.
It's symbiotic. But again, like you said, I don't take everybody. So I have my pre-qualifying questions, because I want to see, because if you're not going to do the work, I'm sure I can take your money, but that's a reflection on me. And so I would rather not take your money and let you sit there and figure out when you're ready to really put in the work to get the results you say you want.
I love that. I mean, people will come to me as well with regards to, coaching them, and, I'll tell them, what, I failed a lot in my life, but I fail forward.
Right.
I'm always making that extra yard. I speak in sport metaphors a lot, but, also, like you just said, it hits on a point that I always tell our squad out there, if they're listening, to take responsibility, and responsibility is the ability to respond.
That's right.
And that's just, you said it exactly, pretty much like I say it. So
that's right.
Let me ask you a question here. Let's take your cell phone out of it right now, out of the equation. What are 3 things that Dr. Latanya cannot live without?
My Bible. I still have a flip Bible. I still use a flip Bible. Books in general, I will say that books in general, but especially my Bible, I still use flip books. I like the smell of pages, and I want to be able to highlight and write. I will say my journal or notepad and paper. I love journaling and writing. And I will say my last thing is quiet time.
Quiet time.
I just like personal quiet time, whether I'm sitting by water, because we have a man-made lake here where I live at, or just sitting out on my balcony, or just curled up on the sofa or something, just quiet time to meditate and reflect. Those are some things that I just...
Epsom salt thing called the Atlantic Ocean out there.
Yeah.
I'm looking
it's
at it right
now,
here.
So
I wish I could just turn my camera. I'm looking at the Atlantic right here. I can't even go out to it because they have
you can't go out to it, but that's another thing. I love being by water, but since I can't be by the water, even our pool is closed. Sometimes I just go out there and just lounge by there, and just that quiet time is essential.
That little mindset reset sabbatical, gotta have it. Do you do that daily?
Daily. Okay, or every other day. It's just, but I'm journal a lot. I read.
Oh, wow.
But just quiet time, absolutely. I don't care if it's just 10 or 15 minutes.
Do you journal with ink, or do you journal with typing out your journal?
Both.
Okay.
It just depends on where I am, and sometimes, more often than not, it's with old fashioned pen and paper.
I'll do it too.
Because there's something about the connection between heart, head, and hand. And so I just, it's just, and I go back and I have a stack sitting right here, and I've recently been going back through them and reflecting back over, like, all the way back to like 2005. And I just feel like, wow, I wrote that, like,
crazy.
wow. And I look to see, like, oh God, I've grown so much. Like, oh my goodness. And then it's stuff, and then it's like dreams and goals that I have, like, oh, I need to revisit that because this is the time, this is the time for that. Sure. And that's the value in journaling, because
isn't it?
You don't know what's going to come back around that you forgot about that. Sure. But those things, when you capture them, that's the main thing.
Who's at your mastermind? Meaning I'm pulling this out of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Who's at your living or passed on mastermind? Who do you turn to?
My mom.
Thank you for saying that.
My sister.
Okay.
Because they are some very level-headed people, and they reel me in. Reel me in. I call these people my success team. So my success team, they're on there. I have a friend named Portia. She reels me in. She'll say, okay, I'm glad you have vision, but you're all the way up here. I need you to come down here. Sure. I have some very important people who are on my prayer team. Shanae, Devon, Vincent. They help me bring action. They catch the vision and they give me, give those steps. But then there are people who play devil's advocate. So I'm looking for people who, not necessarily yes people, but I'm looking for a devil's advocate who are going to say, well, what happens if, I've got to have my mentor. So I've got to have a Richard on there. I've got to have a Richard on there. And I need somebody who's going to say no, not because they're just being ornery, but no, because this isn't the right time or it's not the right fit.
No, because sometimes there's no has a place, and you got to be able to level up to that no and honor that no.
I think the challenge is because I'm such a visionary leader, and this is for anybody who's a visionary leader, you have to understand that vision never stops. Sure. And sometimes the vision you get isn't for you.
Right.
But you have to capture it, because it might be for someone you meet later on.
Sure. And we're artists, like, entrepreneurs and people that do what we do, we're artists too. And artists never stop. Or like you just said, we're all visionaries. So on that, tell me, what's your definition of a life well lived?
A life well lived. A life well lived is in the eye of the beholder, and it's whatever you deem will be the legacy that you want to leave behind. If you have not fulfilled that legacy, that one thing that you say that you're on this earth to fulfill, then you haven't lived a life.
Love it. Love it. So that's some strong statements, folks. We're going to move on. I love it that you leave behind. That's great. I was a little stuck on that. But we're going to move on to as we kind of wind things down a little bit, our level up lightning round. Okay? I'm going to ask 5 or 6 questions. Don't elaborate.
Okay.
You and I could talk 15, 20 minutes on each one of those, because you and I, we talked the other day for like an hour. We just got going, which was fantastic. But
I know.
My producer and my editor will be like, dude, you have this much time. So
I know.
Top of your head and then stop. Okay? Ready? Here's number 1. What's the best level up advice you've ever received?
Forgive yourself.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Journaling.
There you go. Other than your website, the globalmentorcoach.com or globalmentorcoach.com, and of course, timetoshinetoday.com, my shameless plug. Yeah. What's another website you like to go to level up?
That's a hard one.
We can skip it. That's fine.
We'll come back. One. I gotta go back to it because I don't know. Well, no, I will say SCORE.
Okay, great. Other than the good book, the Bible, what is a go-to, not when you're reading right now that's influencing you? What's that book that's sitting on your shelf that is like, boom, I go to that if I'm in the doldrums and need picked up or something just stands out?
I got to see. I've got to, it's got to be Jim's Goal, Wasted on Jesus.
Love it. I know that book. So that's awesome. Okay. What's your favorite charity or organization that you like to give your time or money to, or both?
My church.
Beautiful. All right. Last question. This is a tough one. What is the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I've got to go with, it's so hard. I'm going to have to go with 80s, 90s.
90s, okay. I dig the 90s. Great music came out of there. All right, as we wrap things up, Doc, what leave us, the Time to Shine squad out there, leave us with one knowledge nugget that you want them to take with us.
I will say this: understand that leadership is not a function. Leadership is a lifestyle. It is a reflection of your unique footprint. It is who you are in this earth. So when you go out every day of your life, you're leading someone, whether it's yourself, your family, your community, or on your job. Know that your leadership, who you are, how you're presenting yourself to the world, is a reflection of just that. It's
fantastic. You. I love that. And how can we find you, Doc?
You can find me on my website at www.globalmentorcoach.com. You can find me on LinkedIn, Dr. Latanya Hughes, Facebook, Dr. Latanya Hughes, Twitter, TU_classified.
With a Y. With a Y in there. Classified.
With a Y.
Okay. Also with your Instagram too. I'm going to have it all in the show notes, people.
Instagram. Yeah, Instagram is Classified Lady with a Y.
And so, folks, those that are listening out there that are going through kind of distressing situations and whatnot, Dr. Latanya has gave us an opportunity for 3 months of one-on-one coaching. She's given it only exclusively to the Time to Shine Today podcast squad of $975. So that's $325 a month.
I got a special deal for you now.
Oh, do you? I'm sorry.
Special deal for you.
Come on, bring it. Come on, Doc.
I am cutting that down to $720.
Wow. $720.
Yeah.
So we're looking at $720. That is $240 a month.
Yeah.
Right? So let's divide that by 30. That's $8 a day.
Yeah.
You get one-on-one coaching.
You got to help. Right now during COVID-19, it's really hard. But this is the time to invest in yourself. You know what I mean? This is the time to really take time to invest in yourself, invest in your business, and get the help you need to go in the right direction. And so I'm not trying to break anybody's bank. That's just not who I am, but I did want to find a way to be able to help people.
$8 a day, people. Listen to that. It's, that's like if you were out working,
it's like Starbucks coffee.
Two times a Starbucks with $4 coffees. All right. Yeah. All right, Time to Shine squad. You've just had some serious knowledge nuggets dropped on to you by my good friend, Dr. Latanya. She brought up the plus with a purposeful pause, listen, understand, and serve. She journals from her heart, head, and hand, so it all just kind of flows out so she can go look back and really learn from her past, as well as maybe spark some interest in something that she's doing, look for inspiration, and that leadership is a unique footprint, always leading. So that's very important. And as we see out here in Time to Shine today, we want to stay humble. We want to stay hungry. We want to level up our health, level up our wealth. And Doc, you are the epitome of that. Thank you so much. Grateful to have you as part of the squad. You can't go anywhere else now. You're here. Okay?
I'm here. You got me.
All right, love. We will talk to you soon, Doc.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine Today podcast. Proudly brought to you by Sutter & Nugent Real Estate Excellence, who can be reached at 561-249-7266 and online at www.sutterandnugent.com. If you're a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on Time to Shine Today, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also there, you will see our recommended resources. We hope that you will support our show by supporting them. If you like what you've been listening to, it'd be great if you could just give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's our time to shine.